Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, I'll let you know every time I use my garbage can. Constantly insist that I tell you about my traumatic childhood? Okay, then let me go into the smallest detail. Let me know when it stops working completely. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I'll let you know every time I use my garbage can. I've never met anyone that said, "Oh good," and HOA. We all have trash cans, but the sight of them offends the delicate eyes of some, so I complied with the new rule of no seeing bins from the street. I find a notice of my bins being out, which is surprising because I'm the only one who touches the cans and I know I'm 100% compliant. I call in and ask why I got the notice. The full description says bins in driveway with lids off. I asked if this happened to be a Tuesday, and sure enough it was. Wednesday is pickup, and I was doing my weekly cleaning. I was using them, I calmly explained through gritted teeth. "Oh, okay, I'll remove the notice." "Great, but how do I prevent this from happening again?" "Oh, I guess notify us." "Alright," I said, "I'll notify you every time I'm using my trash cans." "Oh, that won't be necessary." Clearly it is. That was 5 Tuesdays ago. Today, I once again called promptly at 10 o'clock and let Alan know I was about to use my trash cans. "You know what, Mr. Endoman? I'm just going to put a hold on any trash can notices for you." "Hey, that would be swell, Alan. That would be swell." Wait, you called him at 10 every Tuesday for 6 weeks straight. Today, I once again called promptly at 10 o'clock and let Alan know I was about to use my trash cans. "You know what, Mr. Endoman? I'm just going to put a hold on any trash can notices for you." "Hey, that would be swell, Alan. Why call so late? I would have called on my way into the office at 5:30 a.m. Next Tuesday, you should call him again, not to inform him that you're once again using your bins, but just to confirm that he did indeed put a hold on the trash can notices. Just to be sure. That's really funny. But I can't help but feel that antagonizing someone who conceded defeat isn't very productive. I got a trash can ticket in the mail. The photo showed me actively pulling weeds and the trash can was rolled over by me where I was throwing weeds away. Gotta love HOAs. I'm surprised they didn't attach a second fine for having weeds in your yard. I don't live in an HOA, and I honestly don't think I've ever heard a single thing that makes them sound like a good idea. Why do people do this again? Moved to a new city and first time renting a house with an HOA. They said we had to order garbages and get that set up prior to moving in, so we did. The garbage company dropped the bins off in the back alley and we had a week or something before we got our stuff moved. Then later received a $75 fine from HOA for leaving bins out when we hadn't even moved in yet. Got it waived though, but F them. Constantly insist that I tell you about my traumatic childhood? Okay, then let me go into the smallest detail. 4 days ago, I was invited to my best friend's birthday party. The party was quite nice, but very boring. The people there didn't really seem to have brought the energy for a celebration, so he decided to pimp it up a bit. He hoped that the party guests would wake up with a dramatic story. He gathered everyone in the living room and explained that he wanted to do a little storytelling session. He talked to me and asked to tell stories about my childhood, which he knows was a pretty shitty one. And I told him that I was not comfortable talking about my childhood, but he insisted. Several times he ignored my no, and when a few party guests also came along and said I didn't have to be shy, I decided to tell them. And not to leave anything out. Even the deepest and most disturbing moments of my childhood and everything bad I had to experience. Down to the smallest detail. Everything. I could see the corners of their mouths contorting from a tired smile to absolute horror. My best friend included, because what he didn't know was that I hadn't told him everything. To enhance the shock effect, I tried to tell the story as casually as possible. After my third story, they already had enough and my friend asked me to leave and he will call me later. He can't blame me for ruining his guests' moods. I only did what he wanted. Oh, and he didn't call me. Actually, he isn't responding to anything right now. I somehow think that's funny. Why is this person your best friend? He forced you to relive painful memories for his own entertainment. And this was after you repeatedly told him that you did not want to. That's a really shitty best friend to parade you out like a circus freak and share your trauma against your wishes. I'd really rethink the friendship if he thinks so blithely about people's difficult pasts and personal stories. But the malicious compliance here is exquisite. They wanted a dramatic story, they sure as hell got one. Who thinks trauma will liven up a party? Why lads, let's hear about Dave's nan's cancer that'll get people dancing. I read this with the best British accent I have ever mustered up. The whole world will now suffer the consequences of me trying to sound like that again but failing miserably. Let me know when it stops working completely. Not my malicious compliance, but one I witnessed. Worked for a company selling electrical control gear and a specialist sales rep went to the managing director, MD, to say his mouse was malfunctioning intermittently and needs replacement. MD says when it stops working completely let me know and we'll replace it. Now to give some context, we're talking about a $15-35 AU item and this guy generates $1 million plus in sales annually. The more astute reader will know what happens next. Sales rep looks the MD dead in the eye as if to say, well, if that's how you want to play it. Doesn't miss a beat and hurls the mouse at the hard floor violently so it disintegrates spectacularly. Yeah, it stopped working completely, I'll need a new mouse. Boss shocked, then with a look of resignation, I did that to myself. I had lots of experiences like this with the military's clothing department. One day I brought in a uniform because I was told by my higher-ups that it was too faded and I had to replace it. The storesman told me it was within regulations and I couldn't get a new one. Now when your warrant officers or sergeant majors tell you to get something done, you get it done. So I turned around, took out my pocket knife, sliced it from neck to belly button, turned around and said, oh, I must have missed this giant cut in the uniform. Were you issued a sewing kit, troop? Yes, but I need a supervisor around sharp objects, nerd. Give me a new tunic. Frickin' storesmen. It took me a couple times to understand what resignation I did that to myself meant. Please define abbreviations the first time you use them. It took me 2 red thruffs to parse that MD here means managing director, not medical doctor. I thought this was going a different direction. He would have to keep using the mouse and would lose a lot of sales because of the mouse. Reminds me of way back when phones had slide-out keyboards and a Verizon rep told me they wouldn't replace my insured phone because it can still make calls, so it's not broken. Even though the entire screen was busted. When he handed it to me, I snapped the keyboard off and handed it right back. Left with a new phone. This was fairly common at my last company and my current apartment complex. If something is barely working, you get no replacement. Our IT guys would even imply strongly that your item needs to be completely broken. Not everyone figured it out, but I did. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.